There's a saying in the world, and it goes, the definition of madness is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. It can be all parts of life. But who's mad? Us or them? And I would argue us. Welcome to the morning after the game before. Leeds 3, West Ham 2 at home. Carbon copy of Southampton. Now, I'm not talking about that in terms of the definition of madness, because although it is a carbon copy, although we've made the same mistakes, although we've lost the same manner, well, I can't really sit here and bemoan. I feel guilty. I feel guilty bemoaning performances, efforts, and all of that sort of thing, because once again, we've been given such a fabulous season by them. But although a fabulous season, it doesn't. I want to say this without being harsh, ranting, anything like that. But having a fabulous season doesn't exclude you from criticism. And there is some criticism of not only David Moyes, who's been fantastic, but you got to criticise him somewhat yesterday. His press conference, the club, some of the players. You know, we're entitled to criticise as well, and we're just going to be told to shut up by certain people. But as I said, the definition of madness is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. Now, the Premier League is a tough place, and we've more than held our own in the last year and a half. And am I expecting of results? Of course not. We went into that Europa League this year, and I was quite willing and accepting to go into it, playing that competition, and I thought our league form would suffer because of our squad depth. It was always going to come to this point, I'm afraid. And the way we're going, like hard guns, the way we went at hard guns last year, an extra competition is always difficult. Now, I've seen it. I've seen Leeds are decimated. They are. Of course they're decimated. But rest and the way you play is vital in the Premier League, and they got extra rest. That's not their fault. It's the way the league's panned out these rules. It's the way the league's sorted out the fixtures. Makes no sense, but it's not Leeds' fault. It's not West Ham's fault. Should we be losing to Leeds yesterday? No, not at all. With the form we're in and how we've done this season, we're quite within our rights to expect a result against Leeds, especially a decimated Leeds. Like, there's no excuses to at being decimated, because they're exactly the same. Am I taking any credit away from Leeds? Absolutely not. They was brilliant yesterday. They played really well without some of their main men, and they fully deserved the result. But where I'm going with the quote, the definition of madness is that yesterday I heard David Moyes' press conference, and he was bemoaning the fixtures, which I understand. He was bemoaning the Premier League, which I understand. But then he took the flak for transfers. And if it is his fault, then he's a fool. And he's robbing us all of a dream, because we're not demanding. We're not a demanding bunch. We're not Arsenal. We're not Tottenham. You know, we don't go out and absolutely demand success. As a rule, we have more bad seasons than we do good seasons. We just so happen to have 2 good seasons on the spin. But what I would expect from any Premier League club, if you want to compete in these positions, if you really have ambition to get into these places, if you want to grab, I'm going to use a WWE reference now, if you want to grab them imaginary brass rings, then you have to do the right things. And the right things is improving your squad. And when you look at the bench yesterday, when you look at our team, we've got a fantastic team. We've got a world-class player in Declan Rice. We've got a player on fire in Jared Bowen. We've got great defenders, Zuma and Obona. We've got a good right back. We've got a good midfield, Souček, Ben Rama. But there's going to be points in the season, inevitably, like everybody, when them players are missing. And then when you look at the bench and you see, like our plan of action yesterday, to get out of a rut, to change our system, was to bring Vlasic off and bring Masuaku on. And then bring Fornals off and bring Yarmolenko on. And then, who was it? No, it wasn't Ashby. A young kid. Perkins, Annie Perkins. Bringing him on. All due respect. You are not going to grab any imaginary brass rings like that. You're not. It's just facts. Yeah? And I think, and again, we go back to, the move and all, the move away from Upton Park, the promises made, the broken promises, and all of that sort of thing. They promised us we would be signing players, improving our squad, world-class players and all that. And some people could argue that we're getting there, which you can, I suppose. Is it down to the ball? Not really. It's just that, like, you look at a lot of the players that have been there a long time under several managers now. Aaron Cresswell, Angelo Ogbonna, Declan Rice, Michail Antonio. They've all been there. Even to the likes of Yarmolenko and Pablo Fornals, they've all played under, and they all come under different managers. But you look at the bench and there is no, what happens, like, look at the squad. Yeah? Michail Antonio, I was having a discussion about him yesterday with Dom, and I'm not slating him at all. I love him. And I hope he stays at this club for the rest of his career, because he deserves to. I think he's an infectious character. Has he done well as a striker? Yeah, he's done extremely well. But there is times when a striker's job is not just to score goals, it's to provide that movement for other people to score goals. The amount of times we get it into the box and our main man ain't in there because he just hasn't got the mentality of a centre forward. When was the last time we had a centre forward? Well, the last time we had a centre forward was a bad centre forward, in my opinion, and some people, bad for us. And that's what I would say, because obviously he's gone on to do some good things with another club, but it was Sebastian Haller who, again, he just didn't work for us. But yesterday, we're losing the game. What do we want to do? Most teams would go two up top. Look at Villa, got multiple strikers. Leicester, multiple strikers. We got one, and he ain't even a striker. I don't think it's acceptable to get yourself into this position, because the squad have done brilliantly, but they're not going to be able to excel themselves to the next level. They're not, just because they will run out of steam. And that's what we're seeing. We're seeing them running out of steam. They're going hard guns, which is admirable. They're having, some of them are in fantastic form, which is admirable. But we need people now to compete, to add, to give us a plan B. We haven't got a plan B. We haven't. And that's because of the squad. And there are some people now that won't accept criticism of the squad because they're doing really well the way they are. but we're not going to excel to that next level. And I don't think from the club's point of view, that's good enough, because we've been moaning now for 5 years. There's been protests and all that sort of stuff that they don't want to, you know, they're flirting us with relegation. Now we've got Kretinsky in. They still won't sell because they've got this clause. We've only got a couple more years of these people. But there is no excuses for not taking an opportunity to grab those brass rings. Our squad has always been decimated. Even from last year, it was thin, and we've let players go. We've added players like Zuma, who's good. Well, no, he's quality, by the way. That replace players that have gone. They're better, but they replace players that are gone. But you can't cruise a Premier League season. You can't grab those imaginary brass rings. You can't excel unless you improve your squad and you have at least 2-3 options in every position. You can't. Ask Chelsea. Ask Man City. Man City, would they win a league if they've got all these options? No. Liverpool, when their first team went down, like they had multiple injuries. Could they? No, they couldn't. And what did they do? They tried to rectify it by going out and am I comparing us with Liverpool? No, I'm not. You know, when their defence went down, they went out and signed Canate and players like that, just to, you know, to try and give quality competition. But in the position we're in, I mean, you look at the finances. We're in a better position that fans weren't there last year. We're in a better position. Losses are down, profits are up. There's no excuses. There's no excuses for not reaching for that brass ring. There's none. And that comes through adding quality to your squad. That's where it comes from. As I said, these are not new problems. We've been decimated by injuries year after year after year. Like last year we were quite lucky, but typically we get decimated by injuries. We haven't lost Mikel Antonio yet. You could set your watch by him getting injured at one point. You know what I mean? So probably going to lose him at some point. The defenders, yeah, we've been unfortunate, but you know, Issa Diop isn't good enough. We see him making the same mistakes 2 years ago now. Just isn't good enough. Just isn't good enough. Especially with sort of a defender like Craig Dawson. As I said, am I mad for expecting? But I wasn't expecting. I was hoping. I was hoping that we'd change. We'd turn the corner. But although things are going fantastic on the pitch at the moment, in the crux of it, in the heart of it, we've still got the same problems. We've still got them. And that is the owners. The managers took the flak for it, but I don't fully believe that, to be honest with you. I don't fully believe that he's that picky. Centre forward wise, you had a year. And if you are still trying to pick a centre forward after a year, then you're a fool. And no matter how well you've done for us, because, you know, there's been 3 transfer windows since he left and you haven't replaced him. There's no excuses in the position we're in to not be trying to move to the next level, especially with the investment we've got, especially with the team we've got, especially with the way the place is being run now, and especially when you've got players year after year being decimated. There's no excuses. And I'm pissed off with it, to be quite honest with you. And I look a fool. But, you know, I don't want to turn the whole place negative, but again, these are promises that are being broken. You promised us you'd get us into this position, but you also promised that you keep us there. If you ever want redemption, then they need to do that. But well done, Leeds. They played well yesterday. But we go big game at Manchester United next week. And then we've got a break. And then the transfer window ends within that break. If no one comes in, then you're going to see me fucking lose my shit, to be honest with you. But it is what it is. We have to hope, you know. We can't just keep on being silent. I think as a fan base, we can't just keep on being silent. You know, people want you to wait until they've done something. And if they don't do nothing, when you get past the transfer window, they also say to you, well, there's nothing you can do now. Well, no, there was something I could do then, but you didn't want me to say anything because I had to wait. Now I've waited. So when do you get your opportunity to, you know, to say something? And as fans and as paying customers, people that put money into that football club's pocket, you know, they wouldn't be here without us. We're quite entitled, whether we're doing well or not to become expectant and not to become, like, you know, if you start becoming expectant, then somebody's going to be let down, aren't they? Because Man City, Arsenal, Chelsea, Tottenham, Man United, you know, all of them, did I say Chelsea? Yeah, I did. But clubs like that, they're all expecting to do the same thing as you, and we're not in that bracket. But when a couple of them start faltering, take advantage. Take advantage. Look at their squads. That's how you compete. Take a leaf out of their book. And don't, it's not a knock against any of the players, but, you know, there's only so far this current squad can go. We need to add quality if we want to go to the next level. And we never do. Anyway, rant over. Have a great day. Hope that hasn't ruined your week. But we get a chance to get redemption next week against Man United. And now West Ham, we'll probably go up there and put a performance in. But thank you very much for watching. Go and check out all the fan cams from yesterday and the post-match reaction. I'll be back a bit later on today with a live transfer daily. What else we got? I'll be reacting to Moyes' press conference over on our Patreon a bit later on today. So yeah, have a great day. One thing left to say, come on you irons.